We carved a silhouette on the ocean after dark, over the lonely and the holy and the red blood beating hearts. Up from the dirty black water, a shadow void of form raised itself out of the river, and it climbed upon the shore. Neon on the blacktop, there's a gentle rain downtown, a shadow pooling underneath me as it follows on the ground. Kissed you when I saw you, stared deep into your eyes. I meant to say I love you, but instead I said goodbye. Shadows in the city, I'm a stranger to myself. On these streets I'm someone else. Shadows in the city, like a demon in the dark, come to tear us apart. Beyond our city, all my good intentions, there's a shadow in the dark. It comes to me infrequently and breaks your perfect heart. I don't know why I do it, apologize, but it's too late. A single tear and you leave me here, and the shadow slips away. Shadows in the city, I'm a stranger to myself. On these streets I'm someone else. Shadows in the city, like a demon in the dark, come to tear us apart. Beyond our city, beyond
Well, hello everyone. It's Tim Baldridge, Halgari, and I got some feedback here. I had a stream pulled up in another window. There we go. So we're going to be doing some development of the Nexus Mods app today, and just wanted to start streaming some more. Kind of want to connect more with the community, and figure this is a good way to do it. So I've done a couple streams on YouTube before, and it's hard with my schedule finding the right time, like a consistent time, but we're going to try to do that, as well as start to try to do it on Twitch, and then we'll copy the VODs over to YouTube and, kind of promote it a bit more and stuff too. So, all right, so what we're working on today is we're working on collections. And maybe to start with, we can kind of see where we're currently at with that. So let's go ahead and run the app. Get that going here. So I have cleaned out all my initial data folders and stuff, so we're gonna allow some metrics here, just kind of do the initial setup. Okay, so now we're logged into the app. I have Cyberpunk installed, so we're gonna add that to start managing it. And so now, as you see here, we have our library and the mods and stuff like that. What we currently have is this work in progress page here, where we can, when we install a collection, that's where it'll pop up. So in a different browser window here, I'm going to pull this up. I do have some of the content controls turned off, and Cyberpunk can be a bit of a landmine field when it comes to stream-friendly content. But so I'm gonna pull this up in a different window. Let's see here. I'm going to download a collection that we'll just do the ones I normally test with, which is called, I'm not seeing it here, Halgari's Helper. I made one that's it's a real basic list, like two files in it. Where am I not seeing it? We'll just do the other one I normally do. Immersive. So right now, when we install a collection, so here I have a collection pulled up, and when I click add this, it's going to ask me if I want to open it in the app. I open it in the app, and then as you see here, it spits out some stuff. And so the card pops up here. That's really great. We can't really do anything with this, right? So this continue to download doesn't do anything. This doesn't do anything either. It does install, but this is kind of a temporary solution. Right now, the moment it gets the link from the browser for the collection, it downloads everything as fast as it can and shoves it into the app. So it is installed. That's kind of the cool thing here. If we preview the changes, all the files are here. But that's not really what we're looking for. We want to... So one of the problems is that for non-premium users, we need to send them through a workflow where they click each link, right? And we kind of want to provide this better view to users of the collection. So that's what we're going to be working on today, linking that up. We actually have the initial part of this done. Ignore this ugliness down here. So a bit of a, shall we say, disclaimer is that I am absolutely horrible at UI design, and that's why we have UI designers at the Nexus. That is not my forte at all. Bear with me one second here. There you go. Just making sure that it's all the stream is working the way I think it should. And I will post a couple links here real quick. So just I'll be right back as I post those links. All right, we're back. Okay. And then, yeah, so the other thing fun about this stream is I have a ultra wide monitor, and so streaming can be a little bit of a problem. In fact, I just realized no one can actually see what's going on the screen. So let's crank up the zoom level on my IDE a bit. See how that looks. Let's do 150. There we go. When I stream, I do like, nope, I didn't think that took. Zoom, view, I just saw it, appearance, zoom level, 150. There we go. I like to zoom in a little bit so you all can actually see what's going on here. Okay, so yeah, what we're doing today is I want to hook up that link. So we saw the cards, the collection cards there, and when we click on that, we want it to go to here. Also, I'm going to sever the part of it that does the automatic download because we're going to be implementing that. Yeah, my mind got fast tracked. So because we have on an ultra wide monitor, we do have to zoom in a little bit so you all can see. And then also I need something to fill the blank void that is below this image. So we just gotta, this is B-top and some music playing in the background. So, you know, we'll adapt this as this goes on, but at least we have a bit of fun visualization going on here. All right, so first thing we will do is let's look at the loadout page. So to add new pages to our management system, our page management system that we saw a little bit ago, we follow this factory pattern where we create a factory for the page, and we're gonna give it a unique ID, and then we fill out this discovery details, kind of metadata information about what the page is and what sort of information it requires in the group and when it's displayed and that sort of thing. So we're going to start with that. So let's go down to our UI section here, and then pages. So we have the library page, and we have the collection download page, right? So collection download page. Currently, we already have the view models and stuff built out for this. As we saw, you can kind of see what the page is going to look like. So all this data right here is driven by a static view model, a design view model. We're going to be fine with that for now. We'll add in that stuff later. All right, so actually I'm just going to pretty much copy this and edit it as needed. So we want to change the namespace. We're going to import a couple things here. Some pages, collection, download page. A collection download, and then it's context. Yep, and we'll rename this. Yeah, I guess we do want a collection slug in here. I run with Google Copilot, or not GitHub Copilot, and it's actually kind of cool for this sort of stuff. It works really well with good typing information. So in this case, we do want a collection slug. So Nexus collections have a unique revision ID. So there's a collection slug that defines the collection, and then there can be many revisions. Each one of those revisions has a revision number. There's a revision number. So like the first revision is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The revision ID is a globally unique ID for that revision, right? So the ID will be 7,634 or something, right? So all we technically need is the revision ID. And I think we'll be fine with that, actually. So we won't do the slug because the slug is mostly useless. We can get that based off the revision ID. So we're going to go off the revision ID. And then this is all scoped within a specific loadout. So required loadout ID, and we'll give that. So when we create a new one of these collection download pages, we'll need to know the revision ID and the loadout ID. the collection revision ID. So that's the collection revision ID identifier, and then this is the loadout ID into which the collection will be eventually installed. So this download page downloads and installs the collection. So we'll need both those pieces of information. All right, so now let's name this collection download page factory. And that didn't rename it in the other place, did it? No, good, just this file, good. All right, so we'll need a new GUID. So Rider has this nice thing. If you do ngUID, it'll auto-generate a new GUID for you. And then when we create this, we want to create a collection down. This is the view model. Collection download page. Download design view model. So we're just going to use the our design view model for now. We need to make sure this is on a collection. And then this is the collection download page context. So what we have here is this is the context is kind of the information that is passed off to the page itself when it's created, kind of its context. You know, we want to look at this information, the parameters, if you will. Now that's complaining here that must be convertible to I page view model interface. It's not a I page. Okay, so that has to be a page, and then we're missing a yeah, okay. Thought we have that here. Oh, because this takes a collection download page context. Cool. All right, so we're just about there with this. We do support localization, and so we'll do collection download page here. What this is, so for those who have never worked on this sort of localization code before, what this does is in your code itself, you just stub out your strings, and those strings are loaded from this XML file here, and people can override parts or all of this with a specific language. So this is language, let's see, here, like we have a Polish version of this, right? So here's all the Polish translations. We have somebody who has taken upon themselves to translate almost everything in the app to Polish, which is fantastic. We're not really doing translation ourselves. We're providing the hooks for it and then leaving the rest up to the community to provide translations. So if that interests you, go for it. Okay, so a couple other things here. Section name that this goes into, probably mods. Although, I don't know that we ever actually want to make this discoverable. So I think we will just always do yield break. Yeah, because we don't actually ever, there's no place where the user can just open this page on their own. It will be a link from another page. So we don't need to register it. And let's see, what is this complaining about here? This is complaining that we need to inherit from my page view model, and we need to generate our constructor. Collection status. I don't know why it's requiring that as a parameter. That doesn't really make sense why that. Maybe it was that way before. Okay. Oh, and then this does require a window manager, which we can't pass into our design view model. Fantastic. All right, so time to create a normal view model for this. It's kind of hard to be able to test and design these sort of things because what we want in a lot of these cases is the ability to, so like we don't actually use the window manager here, so in the design view model, we can just pass in a null, and this would blow up if anyone ever tried to actually like use that window manager. But it should allow us to still, like this should still compile and we can see it in our designer here. And that's really the idea behind those design view models, is that it's a bit of code that sits in the back and, you know, presents data, canned data to the view so we can edit it in this thing here without restarting the app every single time. Yeah, so this still works. That's good. Cool. All right, so if we now go back to our, where were we at now? We're at the page, right? Okay, so for now, we won't actually have, we can make that optional. Let's make that optional. So if we have a, this will require a window manager. Window manager, and we can make this optional. And I'm mostly just doing it this way so that we can, as I build, I like to kind of test as I go. We should have a window manager in this context. Do we not? Let's see here. How's it done in the library page? Oh, no, we're getting it from the service provider. Okay, so we will need the service provider. Yeah, I'm not sure how much people here are familiar with some of these coding concepts, but this is dependency injection. So instead of actually saying what the window manager is, we can kind of delegate that. We can say we don't care what the window manager is, just get us a window manager. And so the dependency injection system allows us to configure things when the app starts, and we can swap out different components based upon their interfaces. That does mean that we need to add this thing to the dependency injection system. So here we have the loadout page factory, the collections page factory. Now we just need to add a singleton for the page factory, collection download page factory. So this says, wait a minute. I thought that's collections page. We need the collection. Getting my names messed up here. Collection download. Collection down page factory. There we go. So this says that, you know, a loadout page factory is an iPage factory. So are these others here. And then you can just ask the dependency injection system for any of those. Oh, cool. Thanks, Al. I did not realize that there is a design. Let's see. How do I want to do this then? For now, yeah. Actually, I can make an overload of this. That'll be just fine here. So, if we provide a manager, then we'll use that. Otherwise, we're going to do base. New design window manager. Cool. So Al there in chat is one of the people on my team. We do a lot of work together. Okay. I think that's good. Now, that still doesn't get us a whole lot because we still can't open the page. So what we need to do is do the collection view. View model, here we go. I don't think we actually have this bound to anything. So we have the item source bound. Oh yeah, it's the collection card view model. Has a, we don't have any sort of commands on this yet. So what that means is in this view, so we can switch here. You can, this is the design of that card that we looked at earlier. And when we click this button here, of course, it doesn't do anything because it's not bound to anything yet. So what we want to do, first of all, is wire that up. So collection card view model, we're going to need a command. Thinking if there's any sort of reactive stuff we need on this. I don't think so. But I think we just use reactive command anyway. Show details command. And so we are currently in the main view model. So we'll want to set this to something here. Let's see here. I do need to look into how to open this window. So what we do is show details command. Yeah, it's like this. And is it a window manager? First we need the window manager. I'm somewhat familiar with this code, but not super familiar with it. So it's going to be a bit of work doing this. Yeah, it would suck to look at this on a phone. Let's see what the I window manager has. The behavior of this pretty closely matches the show apply settings. Apply diff control view model. So apply it. We want the page diff page. So what creates this? So this is the pattern we want to use. So we create the page data, we give it the static ID, we find the active works. Okay, we're just gonna steal all of this. And the what's navigation information in this case? Interesting. Not entirely sure. So this navigation stuff is an input, but I'm not entirely sure where that information comes from. Let's see here. What we're going to do without that for a second, we can always go and add that in once we decide we need it. I think that's information that tells us like where to open the next panel and that sort of thing. All right, so we're going to import page data, and then our factory ID is going to be the collection download page factory.static ID, and then new collection page context, not collections page, collection download page context. And then we need to set the loadout ID equal to our current loadout ID, which we do not have at this point. And then we need the revision ID. So we do have the revision ID. Let's do that. Revision ID equals revision. Interestingly, the thing that creates this would have the loadout ID, I think, because this is the collections view model, which is parameterized by that information. Right, so when it's created here, we have the context, and we could pass that context in. So this would be the loadout ID that comes from this context. Cool. So we have the loadout ID here, and we can pass that into the card. So it's revision ID, loadout ID. And then here in the card view model, same sort of thing where we pull in the loadout ID. Yep. And then we can pass it in here. Cool. Don't need the braces there. I really don't know if we need this or not. We do need the workspace manager, so let's pull that in. Is that iWorkspace manager, right? In that other file, did we like rename the workspace manager from the workspace manager in this case is a window manager? Oh, was I reading that wrong? Yeah, it was, never mind. Okay. So we'll delete this for now. I don't know what that'll do, if we actually need that or not. So it's interesting that the type here is a... Okay, let's try to find what uses this navigation command, like what creates the navigation. So we have a navigation control. So this is in our apply control view model, which in this view gets bound to this apply diff button, which is a navigation control. Okay, so I think that's where it's coming from, is that this, whatever this navigation control is, is a is feeding this information in. So this, okay, we don't really need that right now. We'll see. We will probably come back and add that at some point. So for now, let's make this reactive command just unit. And why do you not like that? No, it's ambiguous. We want the reactive version of unit. So we don't take anything, or we receive this unit, which we don't use. Well, okay, no, because we get this page behavior. So navigation control is a button. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just a button. It's subclasses from button, and it's just a button that pulls out the information and feeds it in. Okay, all right. Today I learned something. So this will just take navigation information called info, and then this will throw a fit because cool. And this throws a fit because we are not returning the right type of unit. We have a type collision error here of some sort. Okay, I guess that works. Cool. Okay, so now we do definitely need this command also in our collection card viewed model interface. The command executed when the user wants to see the details of the collection. That works. Yep. And then we want to do reactive. Yep, it did not like that. Have fun. We have a dependency error here. What was that an error on? I thought it was on reactive. This is all in the same namespace, right? So this is System Reactive 6.0. Why that error? Because we're not using R3, so let's ditch that for now. Cannot convert type. It's these units that have overriding names. Okay, I don't know what was up with that. Okay, so this now has a problem because we also bungled the types here. Yeah, let's not be spamming links here. Sorry, doing some moderation here. Can I not delete this somehow? Just got some spam for some reason here. see here. Huh. I'm actually not sure how to ban. I might have to look into this in a little bit. How to ban. Yeah, doing collections. And at the moment, trying to figure out how to delete a comment from my own chat. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. Back on task. Yeah, so we're linking up different parts of the collections UI. At the moment, I got a bit of a type error here using system.reactive. Cool. So details command, and then unit default. Cool. So yeah, we have this way to view all of the different collections that we're aware of, and we want to make it so we can show the settings for that. All right. Now, this would all almost work. Except for a couple things. So first thing we need to do is we do need to go into this collection card thing. So this first of all needs a window manager. So what we have right now is we have the binding set up where if we were to evoke the binding, it should pull up the page with the details of the collection. But we need to wire that into the actual view itself. So that would be here. In this card view, we have this button. Where's my little grabber thing? Goodness. It's way too small. Okay, so we have this button here that says continue download. Here. And this is currently a button, and we needed to make it a navigation control. So that still looks the same. Great, all the styling works. Fantastic. And then we should be able to just bind the command this.when any value of oh yeah, thank you AI. Oh, did we name that? No, we named this download button. Download button dot I do want to make sure that we are properly binding that. So navigation control up here, find usages, actually the actual command of this. In one of these pages, we invoke that. I just want to make sure we're invoking this the right way. So like the view files button here, which is in the loadout page, loadout view. the view files command is just bound with bind command. That's what I was wondering. Yeah, that makes sense. So we'll do that in our collections card view. So this is just .bind command, show details command to the, we'll call that the details button, just so it makes a little more sense what we're, details button. I don't think that'll wreck the styling. Just to make sure. So, commands wired up. Should show the page. The data in the page will be all static. Should work. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna make sure this displays properly. Cool. All right, so now when we launch the app, we can view it here. We'll view our collections page. Continue to download. Nope, that didn't work. Let's see here. Unsupported type, collection download page content. Huh? Page factory, line 43. All right. Page factory, line 43. If context, so we're passing the wrong context to this thing. So it said, unsupported type, collection download page context when creating something. We can improve that error. So it says unsupported type of context for type of T-view model. Yeah. But let's also look at our collection card view. Card view model here and see why, in fact, did we pass the wrong thing? No, doesn't look like it. Does not look like it. Interesting. We are accepting the correct information here and everything. Now let's try this again. Let's do it with the debug turned on this time and see what happens. Okay, so we'll view that. Do here again, collections, and we click this. Actual context is in fact a null. Oh, well that would be a problem. Let's do a create here, page data, context. We have the context here. What are we missing here? If context is not, oh, well, of course that's null. So it's not a whatever T context is. All right, so we are in an iCollections view model. When we're creating this, it looks like we may be grabbing the wrong ID. Collection download page, collection card page. Yep, collections page factory. Collection download page factory. I would like to find a way to statically, like I don't think we should be having type errors here. I'd like to shore that up a bit, where it's like, it's impossible to give the wrong parameters to the wrong page. Just like one method, like, here's one I want to create, and there we go. So view this, and then here and here. Well, it did something. We're getting there. Oh yeah, we didn't register our view. So we use that dependency injection system all through the app, right? One of the places we use it for is when we register views and view models. So we register our view models, and the view models implement interface, and then we register our views and say the views take this interface. And in fact, let's take a look at that. It's a little bit of ceremony to set all that up, and I always forget to set it up right, but it has its benefits. So if we do like loadout view, here you'll see that we have a library view that takes an iLibrary view model. So it needs a library view model to kind of drive it. And same thing here with the loadout. So we do add view of collection download view, and that takes an collection download view model. And this is kind of what I was talking about, that static typing too, is if you look here at this collection download view, we can see that it does, in fact, require this. So we can statically check this. Like, this won't compile if I feed it the wrong thing. But I do have to register it, which we just did. And that's what the error was. It might have been too quick to see, but, oh, we're out of music. No. But the page came up, filled out some information, and then it died because it couldn't find a way to display the rest of the page. So let's see here. Boom, boom, and boom. Yeah, woo, it works. So like I mentioned before, please ignore all this down here. It's still a bit of work in progress, everything below that. But this area up top here is working, so this displays. Now, if you noticed, we have a slight problem. We have a couple problems, actually. This says new tab, which is incorrect. There is all this information here. So this is actually driven from the website, kind of cool. So there really are 22 mods in this, 2 endorsements, 279 downloads. That's the size, all that. This is actually the author, cool stuff. But the this data here is still static. And the reason it's static is, if you remember, we loaded up that design view model and not the actual view model. So we need to implement that. First of all, let's make a branch. Let's call this wire up collection download page. Can navigate to the download page. Cool. And we'll push this up just for now. Cool. Cool, that worked. All right. Now, what we need to do is design ourselves a new view model that implements the same interface, but does the actual work. So, collection download view model. Make sure everything is named correctly. Yep. So, well, that's, we need to inherit from the a page view model. That is what we need, right? Yep. It's actually the same as this, so we're just gonna copy that. And we're gonna see here in a little bit some of the database stuff that we have in the app, which I'm actually really happy with. There's stuff I wanna add to it, but what we have right now is not too bad. So we have this window manager. What we also need is an iConnection. And we really should probably just pull in the whole page context. Collection download page context. And to be honest with you, we really should with this one too. We don't pull any of that in on this at all, so never mind, we won't do that there. But we'll pull in this context and then save this off. We don't need to save off the window manager because we're passing that to the parent class. So we'll do connection equals connection. So this connection here is our database connection, and the context is our context. Now, most of this information will not change. We don't care about all the metadata information about the collection, so we will load that and assign it once and leave that as is. So let's load it up. We still need the iWindow manager, and this will give us another test point, right? So I really like when I code, like doing a small amount of work, making sure it works, bit more work, making sure that works, and kind of that iterative approach. If I'm coding for more than like an hour on one thing, I start to get nervous that like I'm way off in the weeds and I don't like the implementation. All right, so we need to fill out these different aspects of this, but what we're gonna do instead here is we're gonna load up the actual revision. So the revision is collection revision metadata, and we're going to do find by revision ID. Okay, and we get this revision ID here, and we do first. This is our database system. If you have ever heard of Datomic or something like that, that's really what our database MnemonicDB is based off of. It's an immutable tuple store, so you can store data in it. As you change the data, the previous history is retained, and you can just do like a historical view of your entire database. You can rewind time, so to speak. There's a couple of databases like this that there's more and more that are doing this, and I really like that. So Datomic was the first. I used to work for the company that made Datomic, and I really liked Datomic. XTDB was a system that implemented bitemporal databases, which is like the idea of having two views of history, and you can, it sounds weird, but like if you can imagine if you ran a bank, there's a difference between what the bank sees as the transaction order and the time that the server saw the transactions. There's like server time versus accounting time, right? So bitemporality, that's really cool. I recently encountered a new database called, was it SurrealDB? And they're doing some of this stuff too. But anyway, all of that to say, MnemonicDB is the version I wrote that is just a single app. You can't put it on a server, or you can put it on a server, but there's no server connections, no distributed nature to it. It's designed for extremely fast, efficient data within a single app. So anyway, all that to say, we now have the revision that we are looking for. And we can save off this read model into our view model here. And then we can just re-implement a lot of this stuff off of it. So like the name of the collection is revision collection name. So we have this hierarchy, right? If we look at this, we have a source generator. I really like this stuff. I'm excited about it. Sorry. So when you define a class with this sort of signature that inherits from iModel definition, what happens is behind the scenes, our source generator automatically updates creates a bunch of code for you. So this is the code, like that one model, we auto-generated 400 lines of code for you that does all the getters and setters and all this sort of stuff. And the way the system works, you can traverse through the graph. It's like a graph database in a lot of ways. So here we have the revision. We can jump up to the collection and get the collection name. This is the slug, the collection slug, which is just a string, a unique string. The revision number, which is on the revision. The author name, which is the revision. You go to the collection, you get the link to the author's metadata, and then you get the collection to the name. So we're just like spidering out through a graph here. We have the summary of the collection. The number of mods is the count of the number of files. Required count, we have this. Oh, for this, we do a little link thing. Revision dot files dot where file f dot optional equals false. Those are the required mods. Those are the optional ones. The endorsements, I got a casting error here, I assume. Yeah, because I stored that as a U-long. I mean, people need to start thinking bigger. You know, I mean, like, is 4 billion endorsements for your collection really going to be enough, folks? Nah, I don't think so. At some point, everyone in the world will have played your list, and then you'll overflow that 32-bit int. So let's think ahead here. And we got the tile image, background image. We still need to kind of work on how we do this, store our images here. But for now, cool. I think we got it. So if we go to this design view model and we find the usages of this, we will see that all we really need to do here is just do view model. And we need to also pass in the service provider. We need to pass in the connection to the database, the context. One of these days I'm going to do a deep dive into DemonicDB because there's some really cool stuff there, and I want to do like an hour-long overview of it. All right. Let's see it all fall apart. All right, so when I test this sort of thing, what I like to do is, in my mind, say, if this works, what do I expect to see? If this works, I want to see images and different stats and the correct summary of this. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I don't think this changed. We know it did. This is from the card from the, but look at this. We got the new tile image. We got the new background image. This is user updated content. I'm actually really psyched about this, that like users can upload images to the Nexus, and then we pull those images down through the APIs and we can display them in the app, and everything's like themed like the collection the user had. Cool stuff. I'm getting chills. All right. We see 22 required mods. Like I said, ignore this. It looks like shit. 22 mods here, and then 0 optional, and all this information. Awesome. Okay, so let's go back to our collections thing here, and let me load up. For those who weren't here earlier, I mentioned that little problem I have is it's pretty easy to get yourself banned if you have filters turned off, and I'm testing Cyberpunk, which like everything is got adult content, it feels like. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to add another collection. So we should see it pull up. Welcome to Night City. It's going to do some crazy stuff because there's 226 mods in this. As you see here, it is downloading like a house of fire. But it is downloading. And you can see in my graph there, network usage is spiking. Let's see. Is that done? It didn't pop up. I think there is an error on this one, and I forget if this currently installs correctly. But anyway, if we do continue to download, they don't have a background image here, so but we see this has all the correct information. And actually, if we do a multi-panel thing here, this should be kind of interesting. Let's see. Yeah, so we have the different views. That's cool. Let's see. Questions here. Yeah, B-Top is pretty awesome. Yeah, so there was a question. Was it uncognizant? Yeah, as part of the collection metadata. In fact, I'll show this. It's kind of cool. So Nexus has implemented GraphQL. as their API. And this is another thing we implemented in the app recently that I'm really happy with. There's some nice tools for C# with GraphQL. And where am I looking for here? Collect Nexus mods. It's in the networking. Yeah, here we go. So what's cool about this is we have our GraphQL schemas. We have fragments, so we can define in GraphQL here, like what we want to pull for mods and for files. And then when we pull a collection revision, this is the query we execute, and we can splice in these fragments, which is really nice because in our C# code, then we have code for each one of these fragments, and whenever we see them, we can update our internal caches of the information. But to answer your question, yeah, there's tile images, and then the header image is that other one. So we can just pull that data, and we save it off to the database currently. In MnemonicDB, that's not a terrible thing to do. I would like to do that a bit more efficiently. MnemonicDB, like Datomic, has a partition ability that allows you to, like, say certain parts of the database should be off on their own. And I want to do that with images, to be like, hey, all the images, I don't want them mixed in with my normal data because that'll blow out the caches and make things a little slower. But it's fine to have them in the database. We'll just put them in a different partition. So yeah, all that to say, we pull those down as part of that metadata, pulling the metadata of the collection. All right. So let's look at that again to figure out where we're at as far as information that we need to, like what our next steps are. So what we're building here, by the way, is the ability to, this page here, right? So we have 226 mods that are visible, and as you see here, we can't see any of them. What we actually want are two versions of the library grid, what you see here, inside of that view. So we'll have two separate grids. We're going to update this information here to have like download all or install and that sort of thing. Because one of the things we're trying to do in the app is improve the experience of like non-premium users. So Wabajack and Vortex and a bunch of others do this sort of system that's like, if you have files to manually download, we're just gonna like vomit them at you, and you just got to sit there and click link after link after link until, you know, you either close down the app or you get through it or whatever. So what we're going to do instead is give you something that looks like this, and instead of install, it's going to say download, so that you can go through and, you know, download, and each time you download, the little counter here is going to count down. We got 3 more to download, 2, 1, whatever. And you can walk away, come back. Like you could have a dozen collections installed, like the metadata pulled down. This view here could have tons of collections, and we'll show you here, like 10 of 20 downloaded, that sort of thing. The idea being there that like we're not going to change that aspect of you having to click each link manually if you're not premium, but your life doesn't have to totally suck either. Like we can meet you halfway on that one. Yeah, and then the other nice thing about that is that like when it's all downloaded, you'll get a little button here that says install, and you click install, and the actual collection is installed. The other thing that's nice about that is, that works really nicely for like if you're premium, you'll have a button here, a little yellow button, download all. So it kind of adds another step in the process of collections, in that like you click the collection in the web browser, it adds it in. Then you can either download them all or download the files one at a time. Once they're downloaded, you click install. But I think that process is a lot more fluid for users and will make more sense instead of just what Wabajack and Vortex currently do of, well, we got 1,000 files to download, just, you know, hold on to your butts because we're going to just shove this information at you until it's done. Put the users in a bit more control. Okay. So what we need now is these grids. And this is not styled, obviously, this part down here. It's going to be a little bit interesting. So I'm sitting here thinking, how do we want to break down this problem? And I think the first thing we'll want to do is just get this entire library in that view. And why? Well, all of the so Lucas says, allows for saving something for later, like how when Valve added support to add demos to your library without installing. Yeah, exactly. Kind of that multi-step process. So what we're going to do is, so all of the tree data grids in the app are kind of the same thing, just filtered differently. And I want to try to, as much as possible, use this library grid in that view so that we don't have to re-implement it. This whole thing is kind of really involved, and there's a lot of information in here. I mean, even just stuff like when was it added? 8 minutes ago. Oh, that's relative. So every minute something has to like update the time. And that's a lot of complexity. I don't know why some of these, oh, I see. Yeah, okay. So I think we'll start with that, is that we'll just add the entire library into here, and then we'll add a way to filter it. And then currently everything in the library, the only things you see in the library are things that are already downloaded. That will change so that we can show things you haven't downloaded and you can download them. That's another thing I want to add long term, is that in this library we'll show mods that you're tracking on the Nexus. So the library is not just mods on your machine, but once again, like Steam. I mean, I hadn't thought of that in this regard, but like Steam, where it's like, oh, you have this file installed on this other computer, right? You can stream it from there, or you can install this game onto that other machine. We're not adding that. Like, you can't install mods on another machine, but what we will add here is, like, we know you like this mod for whatever reason. Feel free to, you can click a button and download it and not have to go to the website. I mean, if you're a free user, you will, but whatever. Okay. So let's look at the library page, or library view mod. So this has a lot more like extra stuff around it, but I believe has one library tree grid adapter. And this is the key thing that makes that that drives that grid. And I think if we go to library view, we have this tree data grid. And then if we go to the behind, we should see that the adapter links that up. There should be a thing that links the adapter. Oh, this is library item mode. Yeah. So this line here links the adapter to the tree data grid. So what I want is in each one of those expanders, a separate tree data grid linked to a separate adapter. And then we'll parameterize. We won't build those adapters right now. We're just going to include the library twice. Kind of see what happens. First of all, let's save the work we've done so far. Added the data-driven collection download page VM. Cool. Okay, so what we want to do first then is go to the collection download. So the library view here, and we're just going to more or less copy this verbatim. I can't talk today. So we have a specialized data template here for the install column. Interesting. I don't hate that. We're not going to use that, but I don't hate that. So now let's go to the collection card view. Collection download view. And so we have these two expanders here. That is, shows required mods and optional mods. So now we're going to delete this data template because for now we don't need that. And we're going to name the first data grid required mods tree data grid. And then here, optional mods tree data grid. So these won't be bound to anything, but if we compile this, we should see something here. Well, we got a grid or a box. Okay, I guess that works. I don't know that we're actually going to be able to see that in the designer, so I don't know that we'll try here. Okay. So we need the two adapters in the iCollection download view model. Public tree data grid adapter. And the types of this are a little wonky. We have the view, the library view model. I think those can be anything. Let's see what the requirements are. So the view has to be a reactive user control. The view model has to be a view model interface. The item has to be the correct item, and the key has to be something that's not. Okay, yeah, that'll work great. So copy that to here. And our view is going to be, oh, that's interesting that this links, the view model links to the view. That don't seem right. Let's see, let's go back here. That is where we're creating this. I don't know that we actually, the adapter needs that. Library tree grid adapter. No, okay, good. It could just be a library tree grid data adapter in that case. Required mods adapter. The tree data grid adapter for the required mods. Oops. And the tree grid data optional mods. Okay, cool. So, I don't know what'll happen in the designer when we do what we're about to do here, but whatever. So in the actual download view, code behind, we need to wire those up. Which I think in the other code, did they do that inside of the, no, I did it outside. Okay, interesting. So everything inside this when activated happens not when the object is created, but when it is shown to the user. So collection download view, collection download view model, and then we can implement the rest of these. And this is going to do, I got a message here. No, never mind. Let's see here. Tree. What would you call that? Required mods tree data grid. There we go. And then required mods adapter. And then we'll do the same thing for the other optional mods adapter. Dang, that's a long line of code. All right. So nothing works now. I don't think. I think if we do this, we might get an error because those things will, well, they aren't implemented for the design view model. I don't know if we have an empty adapter. Yeah, I don't think we have an adapter for this. So I'm not exactly sure what we want to do for this. Besides, I mean, we could put a thing in there. That, well, for now we'll just throw new not implemented exception, or not supported is what we should do. Throw new not supported exception. And what we'll do is go into the other code here, the collection here, and say if view model is null, view model is not collection so we just won't do this if it's a design view model, which I'm not super happy with that code, but whatever. Okay. So in here is where we actually want to link up the right information. So when we create this adapter, it needs a service provider, it needs a ticker, and it needs a library filter. And the library filter will be eventually what we extend to filter by the collection information. So required mods adapter equals new. What did you do here? What the heck? That was not what we were looking for. We probably apply service provider. It's kind of a anti-pattern to pass the service provider around and have, like, part of the thing with DI, dependency injection, is to be able to have components declare what they need up front, right? And passing the service provider in like this passes everything, and then you really don't know what they require, and it's kind of an anti-pattern, but it's cleaner looking at times. So I'm sorry, we need here a service provider ticker. We need this ticker thing, which I think is just an observable that updates every so often. And we can look at that in the library view model, what they are using for a ticker. Oh, yeah, that's the adapter. Oh, because that's right, the adapter is up here in the library view model. I would like to, so Airy 120 designed a lot of this, and I want to get his input on how best to do this filtering. I think this will work, but it's going to be a little weird because when we're essentially in a bit going to feed into this library filter a list of mod files that we're interested in. And I'm not sure that's the right thing to do, but we'll code it up today and, see what we think. New adapter. So our ticker in this case is this. Every 30 seconds, we do this thing. We will just copy that. And go here, and we need a ticker. And var filter. What's the filter called? Library filter. So loadout observable and game observable. Okay, we can do that. Because we'll need that anyway. So we have our context. Let's get our loadout. Load. So we're just going to load the loadout from the DB. It's a bit of an anti-pattern to dereference the DB all the time. So we're just going to do it once here, .db. So what's happening here is that the databases, like I said, are immutable. And so you only, like, the moment we do this, we're essentially snapshotting the database, which is pretty much free. So we don't have to worry about, why is that? Oh, we don't have to worry about, causing problems by doing that. So let's change the type. What? Nope, didn't want that. Change the type of field to read-only. Okay, cool. So we have the loadout, and the library filter is observable return. I think that's what it is. Yeah, and we just want the loadout ID. Oh, we didn't even need to load it necessarily. Library filter. It needs to be an IObservable of loadout ID. Oh yeah, sure enough. Okay. I don't know why it's complaining then, but we do need observable.return of the loadout.game installation instance.game. Yeah. So why is this complaining? It's saying it cannot convert to an R3 observable. Oh, I didn't want an R3 observable. That version of it. Okay. Cool. And the same thing here. And this again is loadout dot installation instance dot game. Cool. So we have our filter. Optional mods adapter is exactly the same thing. Okay, so at this point, so the question is, why not inject the dependencies directly into the constructor then instead of using the service provider? There's two cases where that becomes a problem. One of the things is the injection becomes a bit infectious. So, for instance, in this tree grid data adapter, it wants an iService provider. Why? Well, because it needs to load all the iData library data providers. We could instead pass in the iData provider, library data providers. Now, this here would also have to include all the data providers, and then whatever includes this, so find usages, this here would either need to include all the data providers, right? And so it becomes a thing where at some point, if you don't want your dependencies to populate up through all the parents, you kind of just got to like pass in the service provider. Now, technically, we could pass in, we could call the service provider, for instance, here. We could say, hey, to do this, I need a tree grid data adapter. But the problem is I need two of them. So either I need to ask for two up here in my constructor and then set their filters differently or something like that. Or I would need a service provider here, like to be able to just create two of them. And so it is a problem, and I think it's something that's made worse by the way Microsoft designed their dependency injection system. There's not a lot of guidance as to what to do in this situation, and I don't really like that. But Microsoft DI is one of the most common, is probably the most common DI system for this. So I don't know. It turns out it's not a huge problem. It would be if we ever decide to like split up the app into a bunch of different parts and want to only register certain parts at a certain time. Okay, so let's see. That worked. All right, so let's think once again what we expect to see. If we run the app, we would expect to be able to open up the details page for a collection. The metadata will display, and in each of the required sections, we should just see every mod in our library. Like we should see a clone of this view in both of those expandable sections. We do not. Okay. We have a problem there. I'm not exactly sure why. Let's rerun this again with debugging and see if we get tripped up on an exception. Did I forget a step in this? Don't think so. So we have this, we go here, we go here, we go here, nothing. That's odd. Let's make sure we're actually getting to that view model. So that we're setting the collection down. Let's make sure that our filters and stuff are set up correctly. Let's go there as well, just to make sure that it's correct. Okay, so we are getting the DB. We get the revision. We have the loadout. This is one of the things I like too about our database system. Like I said, I want to go through this later in when I do a deep dive of this. But so loadout here is an entity with a specific ID. We can see what we know about the loadout. So the tuples in the loadout are known as facts. So you can count it. Well, it's got 6 facts. What are they? Well, a loadout has a name, which is loadout A, short name, has an installation revision, and we can actually navigate through this. So like, let's see here, the installation is another one of these entities. And here's what we know about the installation. That's where it's located on the drive. The last time we synced it, the store it came from, the name of the game, all that sort of stuff. Pretty cool stuff. So we can actually navigate the database within our REPL window here in C#. Okay, so we have the ticker. Our filter, the value, okay, so we have Cyberpunk, required mods adapter. Cool. Interestingly, I wonder if we are wiring that up. This may not be firing. We can see about that. So if view model, I did that backwards. If the view model is not a collection download view model, then we try to do this. I assume this dies. No, it doesn't die, interestingly. But when it is the correct type, we are not redoing that. I don't know if that would matter. Yeah, that's not working. Bear with me a second here. I'm just going to pull up a different set of music. Just switching some stuff over here real quick. That's not what I'm looking for. Oh, there we go. Let's see. I'm a big fan of Music by the Midnight, so we're gonna listen to a bit of their music today. All right. If you're not familiar with the Midnight, they're kind of a synthwave band, but a lot of they do music with words and stuff too, not just, you know, synth vibes. And I really like their stuff. Okay, so let's figure out what's going on here. Get adapter. So we're getting the adapter correctly. I'm wondering, how is this binding to the view model? Yeah, it's doing when activated on the view. Good. Okay, so let's see if we are properly hitting this code. Okay, so we do hit it for that. And then collections, do here. We're loading the data, and we do get another activation. I'm wondering why. So let's go here and see if we ever actually get anything to display, which we don't. We're not like getting any data from this. Let's make sure that we are following the same methodology that's used in the library page view model. So we have command disposables here. I'm looking for anything where we might be wiring this up differently than they did. We are not defining columns at all. That's probably a problem. What calls this? Well, that's the adapter, right? The adapter adds the columns. That's fine then. Loadout subject. They are priming that, but we have a constant value we're using to that for that. We do need to set the tab. Goodness, man. It's funny. Stream for a day. We've already gotten 2 spammers on this thing. It's like. This song goes hard. All right. Activate, adapter activate. I think that's probably what we're missing right there. That's what I was looking for. Okay, so let's go to our tree grid, our collection download page. We're not activating these adapters. Return no, this needs to be a composite disposable. There we go. And what's this complaining about? The two are, it can either return a disposable Or a... I thought I told it to take a disposal. But it is this problem. So we do have to deactivate the adapters afterwards. So let's just do that too. Cool. Okay, let's see if we get anything better this time around. Nope, not yet. Do want to make sure that this is getting properly activated. So we are getting items. So like we got this model here. Cool. Oh, well that's from the other page. Okay, so we do have activate. Let's see. Adapter message subject. So that's an install command. I do feel like I'm missing something here on how to like actually have this populate. So I think what we'll do is we'll load up a debug view, and then we're going to go into that adapter and look at where it listens to the loadout and game observables and make sure that it's actually getting the data we need it to get. So here we are with this. Now what we want to do is we hand it this filter, and when it activates, so it's in the tree data grid adapter, and when this says activate, I assume so really, if this displays anything, then we know that the activation is happening in this. So we are calling activate. Does that result in it being activated? Yes, it does. And then when that we're like not getting any. We're not getting any sort of items loading up in this for some reason. Let's do this one more time and see what our data looks like at this point. Do we have any library items whatsoever? Is the library completely empty? Okay, this is the initial situation. Okay, so yeah, we have lots and lots of library items initially because we're showing the library here. And then we go here, and this is where we're not getting any sort of, additional, we're not getting this lower part activating because we don't have any items that have loaded up, which kind of makes sense if the query's failing or something. So let's see. So roots is source empty. Interesting. View hierarchical. Roots view. So what's our roots view look like here? There's no roots. Maybe because, no, because there's no, or is there anything in the roots itself? No. So what loads the roots? The roots is a private observable list that needs to be populated with something. That was a private observable list? Okay. So it has to be within here. So view hierarchical. When that changes, does that get populated? Are they setting that somewhere in this library view model? Setting whether or not because these are a tree grid view. We can either display hierarchical or flat data. And the question is, do we need to set it to one for it to actually work? So we activate, subscribe and wait. Nope, doesn't seem to be. I really don't know with this. I may have to get some help in from other people to get some input on this. So for now, I'm just going to save this off. Work on wiring up grids for the collections view. I myself need to get lunch in 20 minutes or so. But there's another thing we can try out while we do that. There's a pull request I need to look at. We updated the database a while back, and the reports that it froze the UI. And so I'm gonna dig into that real quick. So this is pull request 2064. No, it's reopening, so 2074. Think we can do get hub pull request, view pull requests. Oh, here we go. This one right here. this may fail because we need to make it match the current state of the app. But we'll see here. So what I'm going to do later on today is go around and get it to be able to recognize files that we haven't downloaded yet, but we may download in the future, and have it so we can click in the library to download those, because we'll need that information for the collections here. Okay, so first thing we'll do is run our test suite to make sure this in fact runs. This doesn't deadlock something in that. Test suite, we finally got it to run in parallel, and it's pretty wicked fast now. 800 tests in, I don't know, 30 seconds or so. Okay, just working on the last one there. I'm not sure why this is still running. That's interesting. Is this the deadlock? Transaction. It is interesting this is still running. Okay, so let's try that again. If we run this individually, does it pass? Yes, it does. So if we run this entire project on its own, does it just sit forever? Nope. All right, let's run all the tests again to see if there's a deadlock there. These tests are failing on main. And let's see what the failure case is on main. Nope, that worked. Huh, interesting. Okay, so our data model changed. Hold on just a quick sec. I'm going to make sure that I pull up a screen there. I wasn't sure was I wanted to show. Okay, so we're going to run the app through its paces now and see if we can actually get this to break. I wasn't able to before, but that might have been a different problem or this. I'm not exactly sure. So we have Cyberpunk. We're going to add it to be managed. Interesting. This should not take that long. Well, this is we need to merge main into this before we do much more on this. Let's do that real quick. Get merge main. Merge main. Actually, we can probably just push this, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on here. No, it's not super exciting. Thanks all for hanging out so far. Mostly just a chill day of doing a bit of collections work and stuff like that. I have some more fun work around MnemonicDB to do later on. I may do that tomorrow or something when we stream of various backup and saving of the database and deleting of data in that and various other things like that that might be fun to deal with. Okay, so let's try installing a collection again. So let's go back to that one we did before, the immersive Cyberpunk 1. I'm going to add this in. Huh. Well, it froze the app. Wow. Yeah, it deadlocked everything. Well, that was the bug. Unfortunately, I did not run this in debug mode. So let's do that. We're going to delete the data model. We're going to run it in debug mode. We're going to re-add everything we added in, wait for it to deadlock, drop into debug mode, and see what deadlocked. So we're logged in. We're going to manage the game. We've done some optimizations on that add game process, mostly around doing less work, backing up less data, analyzing less data. Okay, so now let us go and add in this collection. This is what died before. See, that worked. Interesting. Let's try a different collection, see if we can get this to happen. Nope, it's all coming in. All right, I'm gonna do this again. See if we can get something to happen here. It's gonna really suck if it's something that only happens not in debug mode, because debug mode slows things down. And so if it's a nasty race condition like that, that's gonna be a problem. Okay, add the game again. We're just going to load that same immersive collection again. Added right away. So let's see, is it possible to like select all of these, remove, can we remove, delete mods? Cool. If we add this again, oh, there we go, it happened. So pause. Okay. So the main thread is locked. The library item model is calling enter. Who else is holding a lock?
to myself. On these streets, I'm someone else. Shadows in the city,
Source cache adapter.
like a demon in the dark.
So
Tear us apart.
So our backend database is publishing an update, which is trying to modify a collection. And that collection it's trying to modify is this source cache. Up here, the UI
All my good intentions,
has locked
a shadow in the dark. He comes to me infrequently and breaks your perfect heart. I don't know where I do.
but this is still running, right?
It's too late.
No. It is stuck in here. So it's probably stuck right here on this reliable enter. And the object it's locking on is a behavior subject. And the behavior subject is
Shadows in the city. I'm a stranger to myself. On these streets, I'm someone else. Shadows in the city. Like a demon in the dark. Come to tear us apart.
yeah, so this is a threading issue where this is trying to update the cache. But it looks like maybe this is already locked it. So the mnemonic DB backend is updating this source cache adapter thing, which is, it's not clear why, like, who uses this? We can't find any uses of it, really? Find usages of the source cache adapter, so this data provider thing does adapt, right? Yeah, it's called observed data. And so what's interesting here is that the backend database is locked because it's trying to push an update into the UI's collection. And the UI collection is blocked because for some reason it is... what is this doing? It is calling dispose library item model. You know, it's setting up the model. I guess one of the questions is why are they both accessing the same lock? And why can neither one of them proceed? So subscribe safe here. Well, actually, there was a lot of frames in between those two. Like, I don't know why there's so many there. Is there a way here to show frames? Debugger settings. Debug external sources. There we go. So it's on a Wow, there is a lot of subscriptions here. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm not exactly sure why this is. I mean, subscribe core is going to lock. Oh, it's locking the behavior subject. Okay, yeah. So this thing here is a behavior subject, and it's locking itself to do some changes, which is a bit of an anti-pattern. You're not ever really supposed to lock yourself. Because you don't know what else could be locking on that thing. So if we go down here in the logger, we're saying source cache edit. So we're here, we call edit. Edit is going update from source. Observable cache is locking on a lock object, which in this case is an object. It's not the... That's interesting. I don't know why this can't proceed then. So this is calling subscribe with an observer. I may have to noodle on this one a bit. Not exactly sure what's wrong with that. We are running a little bit low on time. So I think I'll go grab some lunch. But good work today on this. Well, I mean, this is those 2 pages. I need to find out what's going on with the grid. I think after I come back from my lunch, I won't be streaming probably. But I'm going to work on that button that allows us to do, download, install, that sort of thing. Work on getting in the library mods that have not yet been downloaded. There is some work to be done there too with like progress bars, like you click the download and then we should show like a, downloading progress. I can work on all these kind of different aspects of this. I'll probably create the PR for the work done so far because at least we can see the live data and continue to improve that collections install experience. Cool stuff. And like I said, I do want to do a overview of MnemonicDB sometime soon and go over all that information and kind of give an overview of that. And, this video I'll transfer over to YouTube at some point too, so we can just get more interaction with the community. Thanks everyone for stopping in today. This is great. I do want to do this a lot more often. Kind of got stuff set back up to stream. That's been great. So thanks for showing up, everyone. See you soon.